Hello everybody. You might have seen a 1912 grammar quiz floating around in the Twitter sphere. I've done some research and this video is based around the answers to the questions in the quiz. First of all, quick introduction. My name is Kerry Lewis, aka Mrs. Spag. I'm the author of 2 ebooks which are available on Amazon, Mr. Bruff's Guide to Grammar and The Guide to A-Level English Literature. A bit of background to the quiz, first of all. It was unearthed by Sadie Stein in the Bullitt County History. And Bullitt County is in North America here. And here's a little bit of a close-up of it there. She published it in the Paris Review, and it was aimed at students in the 8th grade. In the UK, that would be Year 9 students. So I'm going to whiz through the answers to this quiz quite quickly. So please feel free to pause if you want to slow down and read the information in a little bit more detail. Question number 1, how many parts of speech are there? Define each. There are 8, which are listed in the first bullet point. Some people also count determiners, making this 9. So let's have a look at them. A noun identifies a person, thing, place and idea, and I've colour-coded them here in the example for you. So Paul, the person, threw the ball, the thing, into Twickenham Stadium, the place, with joy, the idea. A pronoun stands in the place of a noun, so Sarah loves grammar. Well, obviously, who wouldn't? Sarah and grammar can be replaced by she and it, so she loves it. And an adjective describes a noun, for example, an old man. A verb is a word related to actions, events or states. Most people say that a verb is a doing word, and that's absolutely fine. And another word for a doing word is a main verb. For example, he plays the violin brilliantly. Now, there are also auxiliary verbs, for example, to be, to have and to do, and they support the main verb. So again, it's colour-coded. She is singing. Obviously, singing is the main verb. And there are modal verbs which express degrees of necessity. For example, must, I must go. Or certainty, for example, might, I might go. And notice again, they support the main verb. In this case, it would be go. Now, an adverb describes a verb, so he talks quickly. Most adverbs end in ly, not all. For example, you could say he talks fast. Fast is also an adverb. And an interjection is an extra word to show emotion. For example, wow, ah, de. Okay. Now, a preposition tells you where something is. For example, she is in the classroom. Over, under, those are all prepositions as well. And a conjunction connects clauses in sentences. For example, he likes crisps, but he hates potatoes. But is a fanboy's conjunction, which you might recognise. It joins 2 independent clauses in a compound sentence. If you're a bit confused about that, then buy my book or watch a Mr. Bruff YouTube video. And a determiner is the definite article the, or the indefinite articles a and an. So, question number 2, define a proper noun and a common noun, and then name the properties of a noun. So first of all, a proper noun, it's the name of a particular person, organisation or place. So Tom, person, Tesco's, organisation, Tiddlesworth, place. Sorry, couldn't resist the alliteration there. Notice that proper nouns always begin with a capital letter. Now, the question asks you to define a common noun. A concrete noun is exactly the same way of describing a common noun. They're 2 interchangeable words and they mean the same thing. I always like to think of concrete nouns because it's easy to remember what it is. You can touch concrete. Concrete is a name of a physical thing, just as you can touch a chair, which is also a physical thing. Properties of a noun, well, they can be a subject. For example, Tim likes biscuits. Who likes biscuits? Tim, therefore Tim is a subject. Or an object. What does Tim like? Biscuits. Therefore biscuits as the object. Or they can show possession. So Tim likes biscuits, especially whose? Especially Emma's. So Emma's is a possessive noun. Nouns are also gender specific. So if you talk about a sister, you know that she's always female. So that's a female noun. Likewise, a brother is always male. Some nouns are neuter, which means they can be both. When you talk about a teacher, it can be a male or a female. They can be singular or plural, for example, one dog, two dogs, and they show the speaker. So if we were to say, for example, the dog barks, we know we're talking about third person singular. You couldn't say I barks. It has to be it or he or she or it barks. Okay, question 3, what's a personal pronoun? And then decline I. So a personal pronoun refers to a specific person or thing. It can be the subject of a sentence, and you've got a list of subjects there. I am talking, you are talking, etc. It can be the object of a sentence, so give the book to me, for example. Another list of them there. And it can show possession. That's my book. It is mine. There's some more there if you want to pause. Now, a declension shows the 3 cases and their variations. And the 3 cases are the nominative case when you're talking about the subject, the objective case where you're talking about an object, and the possessive case, when you're talking about possession. Can't get my words out. So, I, me, my or mine. So we're thinking back to the words on the previous slide now. We, us, our or ours. So, number 4, what properties have verbs? Well, first of all, they can be singular or plural. Am is to do with a singular word. Are is to do with a plural one. And they indicate the first, second, or third person. I talk, you talk, he talks. Third person singular. They can change tense. For example, yesterday I played, today I play, tomorrow I will play. And they show the active voice or the passive. So active, the dog chased the ball, and the passive, the ball was chased by the dog. And then they also show the mood or attitude. So you've got the indicative mood, which is a statement of fact. I ran. You've got the imperative mood, which is a command or a request. Run. Or the subjunctive mood, which is something imagined. For example, if I were you, I would run. Now, William struck James, change the voice of the verb. Well, it's active because who struck James? William did, so William is the subject. Who did he strike? James, so James is the object. Subject, verb, object, active voice. So to change the voice to passive, put the object first, and if we're going to keep the subject, insert by. Question number 6, adjectives have how many degrees of comparison? Compare good, wise, and beautiful. So you've got an adjective, and then you've got the comparative where you're comparing 2 nouns, and then you've got the superlative where you're comparing 3 or more. So let's have a look at the examples here. Good, better, and best. So I am better than you, I am the best out of everyone. Wise, wiser, wisest, beautiful, more beautiful, and most beautiful. And if you're unsure of the rules for that, then buy my book. Okay, now question number 7 is quite an interesting question because it's not something that's taught anymore, and in fact it's never been, well, not to my knowledge, I'm sure it has somewhere, been taught in the UK, although it was very popular in America, but it lost popularity, and by the 1960s it practically stopped being taught altogether, because basically it teaches you how to diagram sentences but doesn't really teach you anything about how to improve your writing skills or speaking skills, and that was the main criticism of it. So let's look at the example. How do we diagram a sentence? First thing we need to do is find the subject and the verb, and we write them down and we underline them with a horizontal line. Then we separate the subject and verb with a vertical line. And then we add a diagonal line. And on that diagonal line, we write the word that describes Lord. And in this case, it's the word the definite article, and we write it on the line. So we've now got our subject, we've got our verb, and we need to have the object next. And the object is the word giver. Underline that. Again, put another vertical line in. And we now, underneath the word giver, we have the two words which describe giver. So the first diagonal line is for the word and then the second one is for the adjective cheerful. That is diagramming at its most basic. There are some very, very complicated diagrams of sentences which are quite interesting to research, actually. Well, interesting for me anyway. So, question number 8, pass all the words in the following sentences. Some people interpret the instruction pass as to diagram, but bearing in mind that that skill has just been assessed in the previous question, I would interpret pass as analysing the grammar of the sentence. So the first of those sentences, John ran over the bridge. I've colour-coded them if you want to pause and have a look at that. We also have John is the subject, the bridge is the object, so subject, verb, object, that's an active sentence. Next sentence, again I've colour-coded. And again we've got parents love her, so subject, verb, object. Don't be sidetracked by the possessive noun. That's another active sentence. So if you have found that interesting and you'd like to find out more about parts of speech and grammar, please buy my book. It's aimed at Year 9, 10 and 11 students. Practically most of what you need to know, if not everything, for GCSE English language and general writing skills. It's a self-study guide, so the answers are all there. I make no apology for the fact that diagramming is not included there, but please follow me on Twitter at Mrs_Spag, and thank you for joining me.